10 winners. That is what Eala hit against the defending champion of this tournament. Leylah Fernandez hit 25. 15 more. And Eala still won it in straight sets. Go look at that stat sheet. Every single number on it says Eala lost that match. Outstruck, outplayed on paper from the first ball to the last. And then you look at the scoreline and none of it makes any sense. If that confuses you, good. Because it confused a lot of people this week. But there is one person on the tour who is not confused at all, and she is the exact person Eala walks out to face next. Elina Svitolina, world number 10, second seed at this tournament. A woman who has been beating up on young players for a decade. 5 weeks ago in Berlin, Svitolina ran into whatever this thing is that Eala does, and she lost. And when reporters asked her about the rematch this week, she did not say the polite thing. She did not say she was looking forward to it. She said it was a new challenge, new surface, new country, new city, which is a very careful way of saying she knows the old plan did not work. So here's what I want you to sit with for the next 20 minutes. Eala is 21 years old. She is ranked 28th in the world. She is not the biggest hitter on this tour. She is not close to the biggest server on this tour. In her last match, she got aced 14 times to 4 by an Olympic champion, and she keeps beating people she has no business beating. The Wimbledon champion, the Olympic champion, the defending champion here in Washington, all in the same season. That is not a hot streak. A hot streak runs out. This has not run out since May. There is a reason for it. There is a specific, repeatable, almost mechanical reason for it, and it is not her forehand, and it is not her ranking, and it is not the crowd. In this video, I am going to show you 3 things. What her actual weapon is, and why it never shows up on a highlight reel. Why Svitolina is the single worst possible opponent to bring against Eala right now, even though she is ranked 18 spots higher. And one number, one that will tell you who wins this quarterfinal before the second set even starts. Because the thing Svitolina is worried about is not on any stat sheet. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Before we get to the secret, you need to know who is standing on the other side of that net. Because Elina Svitolina is not a name the internet inflated. She is 31 years old. She has been ranked as high as number 3 in the world. She has an Olympic bronze medal from Tokyo. She came back from having a baby and climbed all the way back into the top 10, which almost nobody does. And 2 months ago, she won Rome. Not a small title. Rome, her biggest trophy in 8 years. That is the resume. Now here is the part that actually matters for Saturday. Svitolina does not beat you with power. She never has. There are 2 ways to win a tennis match, and they are basically the 2 ways to win a boxing match. You can knock the other person out, or you can make the other person tired, frustrated, and stupid. Svitolina has spent her entire career doing the second one. She gets every ball back, then she gets one more back, then one more. And around the 7th or 8th shot of a rally, something breaks in the other player. They go for a shot that is not there. They miss it. Svitolina walks back to the baseline like nothing happened, and she does it again. For 10 years, that has been enough. Enough to beat teenagers who could hit the ball twice as hard as her. Enough to beat Grand Slam champions on their worst days. She is a wall, and walls do not lose to kids. Now, Eala, 21 years old, ranked 28 in the world, which is the highest she has ever been, trained at the Rafael Nadal Academy in Spain. In June, she won Birmingham. 3 weeks later, she beat the defending Wimbledon champion Iga Swiatek on grass and became the first Filipino in history to reach the 4th round of a Grand Slam in singles. And here is what people keep getting wrong about her. They see the upsets and they assume she must be a monster ball striker. She is not. She is quick, she is smart, she is unbelievably stubborn, and she wins a lot of matches where she hits fewer big shots than the person across from her. Which brings us to Saturday, and why this is not a normal quarterfinal. Berlin was on grass. Grass is a surface that rewards the aggressor and hides the flaws of the defender, because the ball skids low and points end fast. Nobody gets to grind for 25 shots on grass. Washington is a hard court. Slower bounce, higher bounce. Rallies live longer. Hard courts do not hide anything. Whatever you actually are as a tennis player, a hard court will show it to everyone watching. So this is the first honest meeting between these two. And they arrive in completely opposite conditions. Eala has just beaten the reigning Olympic champion and the defending champion of this event back-to-back, and she came from behind in both matches. Svitolina walked into this quarterfinal having not won a match in over a month. Her last win before this week was back on June 23rd, and even the win that got her here was ugly. She beat Polina Kudermetova 7-6, 6-4, and she served 9 double faults doing it. 9. From a top 10 player. Against an opponent ranked outside the top 100 who twice served for the first set. If you are watching this and you are already leaning forward, I want to ask you something before we go deeper. Put a comment down below right now with one word. Just one. Eala or Svitolina. I am going to come back to this comment section after the match, and I want to see who called it before they knew what I am about to tell you. It takes 4 seconds, and it makes the rest of this a lot more fun. Because here is the question nobody in the tennis media has properly answered. If Svitolina is a wall, and Eala is not the biggest hitter on tour, and walls do not lose to kids, then how exactly did that wall come down in Berlin? Here is the first thing almost nobody says out loud about Alex Eala. Her weapon is not the shot that ends the point. It is the shot that starts it. Go back to Tuesday, first round of this tournament. Alex Eala versus Qin Wenjing, the reigning Olympic gold medalist, a former world number 4, one of the biggest serves in women's tennis. Zheng hit 14 aces in that match. Eala hit 4. Read that again. On the single most important shot in tennis, the one shot your opponent cannot touch, Eala got beaten 14-4. She lost the serving battle completely, and it was not close. She won the match anyway. 4-6, 6-4, 6-1. And the reason is one number that nobody put in a headline. Eala broke Zheng's serve 6 times. 6. Against an Olympic champion who was firing bombs all afternoon. Eala said it herself afterward, and the way she described it was not technical at all. She called it a mentality thing. Against big servers, you take every single chance you can get. You wait. You hang on. You do not panic when the aces go by, because the aces are not the match. The match is the 4 or 5 points a set where the server misses her first serve and has to hit a second one. That is the whole thing. That is Alex Eala's actual game. Now let me tell you why this matters more than it sounds. Modern women's tennis gets graded on 2 numbers, winners and serve speed, because those are the 2 numbers that fit on a broadcast graphic. They look good on TV, they make highlight reels, but neither of them wins sets. What wins sets is breakpoint conversion, and breakpoint conversion is invisible. A deep return that lands 2 feet inside the baseline and pushes a top 10 player back onto her heels does not go viral. It never has. It never will. Nobody clips it. Eala is one of the best returners under 22 years old on this tour, and she is that partly because she has to be. She does not have a serve that bails her out, so she built the other end of the court instead, which takes us right back to the number I opened this video with. 10 winners against Fernandez, 25 for Fernandez, and the first set finished 6-2. Think about how that actually happens. You do not win a set 6-2 by hitting fewer big shots. You win a set 6-2 by making the other player hit one more ball, and then one more, and then one more. Until she looks up at a rally that should have ended 3 shots ago and she goes for something she should not go for, and it clips the tape, and she loses a point she was winning. Fernandez hit 25 winners in that match. She also lost it in straight sets. Both of those things are true, and only one of them tells you anything. So, fine, case closed, right? Eala returns well. She grinds, she makes you beat her. Nice story. Except if that is all this is, then explain the second set. Because in that same match, in that exact set, Alex Eala went down 1-5. 1-5. 4 games from losing the set. The wall she supposedly has fell over completely. Fernandez found her range, reeled off 5 games in a row, and was one hold of serve away from dragging the whole thing into a decider. So what happened to the grinding? What happened to the patience? If the system is that reliable, how does it collapse that fast? In the space of about 20 minutes, against a player she had already beaten up in set 1, watch what happened next, because this is the part I want you to actually see. The crowd in Washington that day was mostly Filipino. There are over 46,000 Filipino immigrants in the Washington metro area, and it sounded like a good chunk of them were in that stadium. And when she went down 1-5, they did not go quiet. They got louder. Let's go, Alex, let's go. Over and over on every single point, loud enough that the umpire had to acknowledge it. Eala won the next game, then the next one, then the next one. She dragged it back from 1-5 all the way to 6-5. Fernandez, to her credit, held on and forced a tiebreak. And in the tiebreak, Alex Eala won 7 points to 1, 7-1, against the defending champion of the tournament. 20 minutes after being 4 games from a third set, she closed it with 2 forehand winners back-to-back, and the whole thing took 1 hour and 53 minutes. Now here is my problem with the story I just told you. None of that is explained by good returning. Returning does not explain how a 21-year-old goes from collapsing to winning a tiebreak 7-1 in the same 20-minute window. That is not a technical skill. There is no drill for that. And it is not a one-off either. She did the exact same thing to Zheng. Down a set and a break, and then she won 7 straight games. Twice? In 4 days. Against 2 different champions. So what is that? Because it is not the return. And whatever it is the reason Elina Svitolina is not sleeping well tonight. We have been framing this match wrong. All of us. This is not the young attacker against the old wall. That is the story everybody wrote, including me, 12 minutes ago in this video. It is wrong. Watch Alex Eala across 3 matches, and you will notice something that nobody wants to put in a preview because it does not sound like praise. Her level drops regularly. She went down a set and a break to Zheng. She went down 1-5 to Fernandez. She lost the first set 6-4 to Svitolina in Berlin before turning that one around too. This is not a player who never cracks. She cracks in almost every big match she plays. She is a player who uncracks faster than anybody her age. That is the skill. That is the entire thing. And I want to be precise about it, because this is not a motivational poster. It is a measurable, repeatable behavior. After the Fernandez match, somebody asked her about the second set collapse, and her answer was the most revealing quote of her season. She said she knew Fernandez was playing better and that maybe her own level had dropped a little. She said those are tricky moments. When you know your level has dropped and you want to do better, but for one reason or another, the ball is just not coming out the way you want. Sit with that for a second. She diagnosed herself correctly in real time at 1-5 down in front of a screaming stadium against the defending champion. She knew exactly what was happening while it was happening. Most 21-year-olds figure that out in the locker room afterward. Some figure it out on the plane home. A lot of them never figure it out at all and spend 4 years wondering why they keep losing sets from 5-1 up. Here is the analogy I keep coming back to, and it has nothing to do with tennis. This is not a race to see who drives faster. Both of these players are going to lose the back end of the car at some point on Saturday. Both of them. That is guaranteed. Svitolina has been on tour for 15 years, and she still coughs up 9 double faults in a match she is supposed to win comfortably. This is a contest to see who gets out of the skid faster. The whole match will be decided in the 3 seconds after somebody loses control, and now put the 2 pieces together, because separately they are nice, and together they are a problem. Piece 1. The return. That is what manufactures the opportunity. Eala does not need many. 4 or 5 loose service games across 2 sets and she is in. Piece 2, the reset. That is what guarantees she is still standing when the opportunity shows up. You cannot cash in on a break point in the 9th game if you mentally checked out in the 6th. One of those makes a good player. Both of them together produced a season where a 21-year-old beat the Wimbledon champion, the Olympic champion, Elena Rybakina, and Elina Svitolina in one summer. All right, quick thing, and then I am giving you the evidence. If that reframe just landed for you, if the uncracking idea changed how you are going to watch this match, go put it in the comments right now. Not a subscribe ask, I want the actual argument. Tell me whether you think mental recovery speed is a real skill or whether I just described luck with nicer words. Some of you are going to say it is luck. I want to read that. I read all of these before the match and I answer the good one. Now here is the part that should genuinely worry the Ukrainian on Saturday. Everything Svitolina has built her career on rests on one assumption. In a long rally, in a long game, in a long match, she will be the steadier one. She outlasts you. That has been true against almost everyone for 10 years, and it is why she is still top 10 at 31. Alex Eala just took that assumption away from her. In Berlin, On a surface that should have favored Eala going for winners, Eala did not out-hit her. Eala outlasted her. 6-3, 6-4. Svitolina said afterward that it was not an easy battle for her, and this week, ahead of the rematch, she talked about it as a new challenge. New surface, new country, new city. Those are not the words of somebody who thinks the plan worked and the execution failed. Those are the words of somebody looking for a different plan. Now, that is a big claim I just made. Maybe the biggest one in this video. So let us put it under a microscope, because there are 4 matches this season that either prove it completely or blow the whole thing apart. 1 upset is luck, 2 is a pattern, 4 is a player. Let us go through them. Wimbledon, 3rd round. Alex Eala versus Iga Swiatek, the defending champion on the biggest court in the sport. Eala won. She became the first Filipino in history to reach the 4th round of a Grand Slam in singles, and it was the 7th top 10 win of her career. Here is why that one matters for the argument I just made. Center court at Wimbledon is the most pressurized environment in tennis. Everything is quieter there. You can hear yourself think, which is the last thing a 21-year-old needs when things go wrong. If the reset skill was fragile, if it only worked when a Filipino crowd was screaming her name, that is the day it breaks. It did not break. Berlin, June. Same tournament, same week, Eala beat Elena Rybakina and Elina Svitolina. 2 top 10 players, 4 days apart. That is the one that kills the luck theory. You can steal 1 match from a great player. Everybody does it once. You do not accidentally do it twice in the same week to 2 different top 10 players, both of whom had video of the first match and time to prepare. Washington this week, Jung on Tuesday, Fernandez on Wednesday, and there is a detail in those 2 that almost nobody picked up on. Jung beat Eala at the Asian Games in 2023, a 3-hour loss. Fernandez beat Eala in Stuttgart in April, 2 players who had her number. She walked into Washington and erased both debts in 48 hours. That is not a rising player getting lucky with a soft draw. That is somebody who went back, worked out what went wrong, and came back with a fix. Twice in 2 days. So let me ask you a question. In the entire 2026 season, how many players ranked outside the top 25 own wins over the Wimbledon champion, the Olympic champion, and the defending champion of a WTA 500 event? The answer is basically 1. Her. Alex Eala is playing top 10 tennis with a ranking of 28. The ranking is not a judgment of how good she is. The ranking is just arithmetic that has not caught up yet. Rankings lag. They are a 12-month rolling average, and she has only been doing this since May. By September, the number will look very different. Now go back to where we started. 10 winners against Fernandez, 25 for Fernandez. And I called it a paradox at the top of this video. It is not a paradox, it is a signature. That stat line is the fingerprint of a player who wins on the other person's error curve instead of her own winner curve. Of course, she hit 10 winners. She was never trying to hit 25. Fernandez hit 25 winners and lost because Eala made her hit 25 winners. That is what the number means. It was never evidence against her. It was the evidence. And that changes what you should be watching for on Saturday. So here's the thing I would tell you to watch if you only watch one number all match. This is the one that actually decides it, and I have not seen a single preview mention it. First serve percentage. Against Fernandez, Eala landed about 61% of her first serves. 61. She got away with it because Fernandez was too busy imploding to punish it. Elina Svitolina will not be too busy. Svitolina's entire game is built on attacking a second serve and turning it into a 12-shot rally that she controls from the middle of the court. If Eala serves at 61% on Saturday, she is handing Svitolina roughly 4 extra second serves per service game, and that is the match. That is how it slips away. But, and this is the part that makes Saturday genuinely a coin flip, Svitolina has the exact same crack in the exact same place. 9 double faults against Kudermetova, against a player ranked outside the top 100, in a match she was heavily favored to win, in a set where she was twice broken back while serving for it. 9. 2 players. Same weakness, same week. So forget the winners column on Saturday. Ignore the aces. Watch the second serves and watch who protects hers, because whoever does that is walking into the semifinal. And if it is Eala, this stops being a story about one quarterfinal. Here's the part that goes way beyond one quarterfinal. The chairman of this tournament, Mark Ein, said something this week that should stop every executive in tennis cold. He said that over the last month, at least 80% of every ticket inquiry the tournament received was somebody asking one question. When is Alex Eala playing? 80%. And he went further. He said honestly, he thinks it is more than that, and the ticketing team just did not want to say it out loud. He said it is not an exaggeration, that it is virtually all of them. At a tournament with Jessica Pegula, with Naomi Osaka, with Svitolina herself. Women's tennis has spent 20 years looking for a player who does not just win matches, but opens a door into a market that was never there before. Not a good player. A door. That is a different thing, and it happens maybe 3 times a generation. They found her. She is 21, she is ranked 28th, she just knocked out the defending champion, and there are over 46,000 Filipinos in this metro area who bought tickets to watch her do it. So win or lose on Saturday, that part is already settled. But if she wins, the question changes completely. A win puts her in her second WTA 500 semifinal of the season. It pushes her ranking right up against a seeded position at the US Open, which matters more than it sounds, because a seed means no top 10 player in your first 2 rounds. And the top half of this draw has Pegula, Kalinskaya, and Osaka in it. So the road does not get easier, it gets louder. And then we stop asking whether Alex Eala can hang with the top 10. That question is finished. She has beaten 4 of them this season. We start asking a much bigger one. Can she actually win one of these things? Because a player who beats champions and a player who wins titles are not the same player. The first one needs 3 good days. The second one needs 6. Nobody knows yet which one she is, including her. And the answer to that question is going to shape her entire US Open, which is 4 weeks away. I am covering all of it. The match report on Saturday, whatever happens, and then every round in New York. If you want to see whether the second serve number I just gave you actually holds up, that video lands within a few hours of the final point, and the way to not miss it is to be subscribed before the match, not after. Svitolina called this a new challenge. She is right, but I do not think she is right in the way she meant it. The challenge is not a 21-year-old with a big forehand. There are 20 of those on tour, and Svitolina eats them for breakfast. The challenge is a 21-year-old who does not stay broken. Drop your score prediction below. 2 sets, 3 sets, tell me who takes it. I am pinning the ones who called it correctly after the match, so make it specific. See you Saturday.